Obviously a fan favorite, very popular. I'm sure you guys were measuring all of your merchandise metrics and stuff like that to see that, hey, this is the guy. Do you remember the conversation that you had with Vince where there's some sort of discussion about the first time that you recall, hey, we're going to have Warrior beat Hogan?
I don't really recall it. It's probably discussions that we all had over a period of time as to, you got this guy coming up in Warrior, and his popularity was great. But I don't remember any one specific, and there were mixed feelings, really, with the title change from Hogan to Warrior, because there were guys, experienced guys, Ted DiBiase, Savage, a lot of the agents that felt that Warrior wasn't right mentally to be the champion at the time.
No, I want you to expound on that. What do you mean?
Attitude. Maybe mentally is not the right, but attitude-wise. He was rough around the edges. He didn't have a love for the business, which old-timers, and I'm going to include myself in that, we would always feel, by God, you got to love the business. You got to appreciate it. You got to pay your dues. You got to do this. You got to do that. And Warrior hadn't done a lot of that.
Right.
And he skyrocketed to the top on physique, charisma, and intensity. And Warrior had all that. He had an incredible physique. He had incredible intensity. And he had just naturally oozed with charisma. So he had those tools. He had a shitty attitude. But a lot of guys have shitty attitudes. So that...
Give me an example of him having a shitty attitude.
I don't know. Just
in regards to, he thought he was better than people. He thought that the wrestling was
stupid. He gave that
stupid.
impression.
Okay. So he just rubbed people the wrong way.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a shitty attitude was based on him not growing up as a wrestling fan and him thinking, this is a business, I'm not a mark, I'm better than this.
Yes. That was the feeling.
Okay.
That people got from him. And that was the perception.
Amongst the boys.
And, of course, perception becomes reality. We got there, and Hulk was, I believe, going away to do a movie.
That's what I wanted to talk about. My question, I guess, what I was trying to drive at is, did you really have a situation where we have to make this guy go over Hogan? Like, it's time for someone to beat Hogan, and we want it to be this guy. Or is the situation really, hey, man, Hogan's leaving, and we got to have somebody in that spot. So it's not that Hogan's run is done necessarily. He's just going to do other stuff. We need to stand in to keep the train on the tracks.
It's a little bit of both. And I think that it was also, in a lot of respects, from Vince's point of view, that he was looking for the next Hogan. Hulk was getting old. And the idea of maybe his Hulkamania run its course, that wasn't as much of an issue, but it was, we need something new. We need something else. So here you got this younger guy that is coming on. He's popular. He's getting over. And maybe it's time. And combine that with Hulk had some other stuff, other opportunities outside of the business. Give that character a rest a little bit and move on.
So you guys decided, take a stab at when you decided.
I don't know.
They touched at Royal Rumble. And looked at each other and then looked around at the crowd, and the crowd goes nuts. So you at least knew by January.
Oh, yeah. We knew at Survivor Series, most likely.
Okay. And he was sole survivor that year, I think, for his team. Yeah. And so obviously he beat all these men by himself. You're trying to really shine him up. A couple months later, the Royal Rumble, they touch, they look at each other. The electricity's in the air. Any hesitation from Hogan about dropping the belt?
Not that I ever knew, no. Hulk was, from my side, in what I know and what I was involved with at that time, there was never any hesitation from Hulk at all. It was all, let's go get this guy over. I'm going to do everything I can and let him run with the ball for a little while, see how he does. I think in the back of Hulk's mind, it was probably like, okay, give him the ball. Let's see what he does. And I think that ego on his side probably is that he could do better.
So you're supposed to feel that way in the wrestling business. Yeah. So on the DVD that you say you didn't watch, that we have to address at some point, the self-destruction of the Ultimate Warrior that WWE put out, and there were lawsuits and blah, blah, blah. Hogan said something along the lines of, and I'm paraphrasing because it has been a while since I've seen it. He knew that this was not the guy to drop the belt to. And you're saying you don't believe that was the case, or he didn't express that to you then. Do you think that's Hulk just trying to make that narrative work for the DVD? Or do you think...
I don't know that there was necessarily... You got to understand, you say the narrative for the DVD. The DVD kind of came out of trying to do a DVD on Warrior, wanted Warrior's involvement in it, and wanted him to participate and be a part of it. And he didn't do it. As interviews and as feedback was coming in, and they were doing all of these interviews with people, they're looking at it going, wow, there's not a lot of positive stuff to work off of.
Hang on now.
But it was now, I know what you're going to say. And it was never, hey, let's go out and bury the Ultimate Warrior. It was, let's go do this video. What is they're getting all of these bites and interviewing people, there was so much negativity, if you will, that it became that, and it went in that direction.
And so there was eventually coaching on what to say.
No,
or not necessarily what to say, but and here's the thing:
I don't know. Look, I can tell you.
You produced some of those segments.
No, I didn't.
Did you not?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I was interviewed for it. And no one coached me on what to say. I was asked. We were interviewed.
But you had never done an interview before where you sit down and you just shit on someone.
Sure I had. It may not have aired. Yeah, without a doubt. They shoot that stuff for hours sometimes, asking guys questions, and they pick and choose what they want to air.
In my head, if I was told we're doing a disc on the Ultimate Warrior, I would tend to think we're trying to put him over.
They were trying to put him over. No, but you got to understand, the original concept was to do a disc on Ultimate Warrior and then have him participate in it. But then when you sit down and you get 20 different people and they're asked questions and you listen to it and 90% of it is, oh, really he was a jerk and really he was this, really he was that. And I never thought that would work. There becomes a tone to it. And when the producers and everybody looks at it and they go, hey, this is what we've gotten here, at some point along the line, and I didn't have any input one way or the other on that, so I can't tell you that, by God, let's go bury the Ultimate Warrior at that point. It was just feedback from producers and people that were putting the DVD together that came back and said, hey, this is what we got. We don't have a whole lot here to go, woohoo, Ultimate Warrior. What a great guy. And so it became, well, maybe that was the instruction of his. And let's go another route.
And it became a hit job. And you have Photoshop posters and all kinds of other stuff to make him look embarrassing.
What Photoshop posters did
I'll show you later. Anyway, let's move on. We're talking about when you were trying to be positive for a minute, which is, I know, difficult for you in your old age.